Paranormalies podcast would like to thank Twinkle Twinkle Little Store, located in Cheyenne, Wyoming, for sponsoring our show.
Hey, good evening, Jason. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing good. Busy week, but glad to be here and have our first episode.
Yeah, this is great. I've really been looking forward to talking with Horn Paranormal. So,
I am too. We're going to discuss some of their equipment. We're going to discuss some of their travels, their newest piece of equipment. It's pretty neat.
yeah, this is going to be great.
All right, let's bring them in.
Sweet.
Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing well.
Hello. Nice to finally meet you, Scott and Kim.
Nice to meet you guys
You as
too.
well.
All right. So, you guys are in Nevada. Used to be up in Sturgis. That's when I saw your equipment and purchased an SLS from you, and then started following you guys. And boy, do you guys do a lot.
Yeah, this last year or so has been pretty eventful.
Yeah. New pieces of equipment over the last year, lots of travels. What made you guys get into the paranormal?
He hands down to me. I was always born with abilities, and I used to go do stuff with my brothers all the time around Halloween and things like that, trying to get them, ghost hunting stuff. You know how you are when you're growing up. Let's go to the cemetery, go do this, try to scare each other kind of stuff. So I had that, and fast forward to Scott and I meeting, and just basically getting him to believe in it was like pulling teeth. It was about 11 years ago, I'd say, when we went on one. I finally got him to go on and one out of Las Vegas to Good Springs, and
Pioneer Saloon of all places.
And we had
Oh,
all
wow.
we had was those cheap K2 meters with us, and our little video, or I think they were Panasonic.
We didn't even have a camera
recorders.
then. It was
No,
it
it
was
was
a
just our recorders.
digital recorder.
And he heard his first EVP, and it was like at midnight when we were back at the hotel room, and he shot out of bed, and he's
Hooked
like,
from there, huh?
play that back. And so after that, we formed our ghost hunting. We started going. I would take him places and try to explain to him. He used to roll his eyes at me when I was telling him, this is what I saw, this is what I know. And he was like, whatever, you can't make a believer out of me. Well, it led to him making equipment. That's how, and then he slowly came around, and
Yeah, the paranormal was never on my radar until I met Kim.
yeah.
I never even a thought. She started out by showing me the Dead Files TV show, because it was been done right there at the Occidental, and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So we've investigated that a few times, and
Yeah.
pretty
There's-
wild stuff that went on there. So
That's right, Wyoming folks. So welcome to our Wyoming podcast.
right.
Yeah, that first one will get you hooked when you hear it, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't sense things. I don't have any abilities of any sort. So the equipment to me is a way to keep me interacting, or because if I walk in some place and I feel something, if somebody tells me that, I'm like, well, I wasn't there, I didn't feel it, So when you have that tangible piece of evidence that you can't explain, now a lot of people won't believe it, because they're like, well, I wasn't there to see you catch it too. But at the same time, it's like, that's fine,
Yep.
And
I've
there's
always
those
said you could sit down and have an interview with an actual ghost, and people still aren't going to believe it. So
right, exactly.
Seeing is believing, though. And
You
then
know,
trying
there's
to
always
convince
those
otherwise.
skeptics. We host some ghost story nights here in town, where
fun.
we allow people to come in and tell their ghost stories. And I always love the person's like, I don't believe, but this one time.
Yes.
I'm still on the fence. I'm gotta be honest. I'm still on the fence, but I've had stuff physically happen to me, and I've seen things that I can't explain. I don't want to put a label on it and say this is exactly what it is, but it's fun to me. It really is, when you catch stuff that shouldn't happen.
I think that helps make a healthy team, is having that skepticism still, right? Not believing that every bump is
Yep.
supernatural, right, or paranormal. So yeah, I think that's great.
So then you did that. What was the first piece of equipment that you made then?
First thing I made was an SLS.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
I
Jump
I
right
bought
into the
one
good
way
stuff.
back in, I don't know, 15 or 16, and I kind of looked at what I paid for it
Yeah.
and what it
It was
was.
before 16. It was 15.
Was it?
Mhm.
And I was like, I could make these, and I just made a couple of them. Of course, friends would see them like, "Oh, you make me one?" Sure,
Family,
and that's
sure.
kind of how it started. And then,
eBay. We did eBay.
man, I would
Yeah.
as fast as I could make them, I'd sell them on eBay.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to make it better, because it was just like everybody else's.
Bulky.
Was everything's with brackets and tablet holders and everything screwed together. So I always wanted to make it more unique and compact. And so then I finally got my first 3D printer about 2 years ago, maybe.
Mhm.
And I immediately went to work on that.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I think we got ours about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
We got
nice
it
and
down.
compact.
2
and,
pounds.
Yeah,
2 pounds.
we love it. Jason is a member at the Knights of Pythias, and
Oh, nice.
we have a hallway that we always get it. There's always something there. They're waving at us. They're doing stuff. We did a collab with another team from Wyoming. They come down. They're like, "Oh, the SLS. Yeah, we'd love to see it." And that's when it confirmed that night that it works because we didn't get anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
Yeah.
we're
Right.
like, "Oh yeah, this is great."
Yeah.
And
When you
now-
get evidence all the time, you got to question that.
Yep.
right,
You
Yep.
need,
So
you
that
need
helped
to
us
have.
confirm it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So from there, you you guys moved out to Nevada,
Yeah.
and then you started building some other stuff, the torch and your XLS.
Yep. August of last year, before we moved, I had the website up. Actually, I think it might have been, no, it was in August. End of July is when we got the LLC, I think. But we got the website up and I started doing a few more small things. I think I did our REM hand,
Yeah.
the REM pod with the hand on it. And
Before
then,
we left.
yep.
Yeah.
And then the motus sensor. Yep. And then we moved here first part of the year. We got tired of the winters. We came down to like hot summer, but
Yeah.
it's getting really nice out now for the winter down here. So
Nice.
Nice.
we're happy with our choice so far. Yeah. And then just, we made a couple things since we've been here, and
Yeah. We're still always like trying to rework. Like right now we're working on, we won't tell you what we're doing with the XLS, but there's going to be some changes to it too. And the more that we work with that program, because it's based on the infrared radar or infrared, I can't even talk tonight. Help me out.
on the XL,
Yes.
the LiDAR.
The LiDAR. Thank you. I can't find my words. It's based on LiDAR technology. So it even says, Microsoft says you can even look down through water up to 10 meters with it. Now we haven't tried or experimented with that, but there's things that we're getting to know with the program and things we don't like and things that we do and things that are anomalies on there. And so we're still trying to become more familiar with that so that we can pass that information on to people. So, but there are some things we want to add to it if we can. And we have a friend who's actually working on some coding programming for us. So it might be something that is just for us. So
Yeah, it's
that
always, I always want to
our-
make something that I would use, that, something that's going to solve a piece of equipment or
Yeah.
a problem that I want to use myself. Because,
yeah,
we investigate a lot. So, we're not just sitting back and making stuff for other people. I want to be able to use it. And then, if other people want it, that's great.
if we get it down though, and it really works stuff, when I say for us, it'll be with the Horn Paranormal. It'll be I don't think we'll actually get it. That portion will be unique to our name, I guess I should say. So yeah,
Sure.
that's kind of,
Got to find your niche.
and so when you see us pull back, that's what some of the R&D that we're going to be working on going forward. Some of the things that we've talked about. So if we're not out there doing a bunch of different stuff like we did going into next year, it's because we're really going to put our eggs in one basket and figure out a couple things that I think you guys will think is phenomenal when we get it done.
Great.
Very cool. And just for everybody listening, just to kind of clarify between the old SLS and, the newer versions of the XLS that y'all are going to be doing. So the SLS did the traditional infrared dots, right? And it would
2-dimension. Yeah. Laser grid or
two-dimensional
infrared grid. Yeah.
Yep. And then LiDAR is light detection and ranging. So it's a completely different different way of sensing things that allows for 3D mapping
Yep.
of
Time
objects, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Sends out signals, waiting for how long it takes to come back. Yep.
What we've noticed with it, some of the things that we've noticed with it is, and you'll see this if anybody actually watches Ghost Adventures, they have one, and they'll get a black dot that comes through there, and everybody says that's a dust fleck. Some of those black orbs are so thick and so black and move. We've had them. We can't identify them. And we've seen them come in the weirdest times and stuff. So that's one of the things that shows up that the other camera doesn't do, that shows up on the XLS. And it has something to do with that 3D mapping program.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, we'd like to do more research on that. And then the other thing is it doesn't always map the person. So you'll be there and you won't map, but you might map this person. Then it comes back, it'll map that person, but you can still see that it's a live person. One thing, the SLS will give less, because it's the type of mapping system on that, you get more false positives. And so you have to do a lot more debunking with an SLS. Like if you see a coat rack and things like that, you've really got to work with it and make sure you're not getting a false positive, where it does happen with the XLS, but it's not, I mean, it's a big, significantly different. So, with that being said, you got to debunk everything anyway, even if you think it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, but I think it's probably a lot higher fidelity data you're getting in, right? So
yes. It's more accurate for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's talk about that website real quick, because you guys were hornparanormal.com. Something's happened with that. It's down for a little bit. So now it's hornparanormal.shop.
Shop.
Yes.
Yep.
So people can go to that .shop and look at all your stuff and purchase from there.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you were to stagger on and see the .com until for another, I guess, 2 months, we won't have it back, but we will relink it to our page as well. But .shop will take you there. The searches aren't working for .shop yet, but if you just punch in hornparanormal.shop, it will take you there.
Okay. Yeah, we have that up here. Jason's got that up, and there's your shop page. And the new piece, the Prox box.
Yes.
You just showed that the other day in Virginia City, where you gave some of those away to people that showed up, and then you premiered it there and showed it.
Right. Yeah. The first 30 ticket holders got a piece of equipment.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that piece?
Yeah. So I've got it here with me. So what it is, it's basically, say if you kind of like a combination of a REM pod and a music box. Here it is. Oh, just like you see on the website. Yeah, kind of. So it's got where the speaker grill is. It's got a light that, it fades in and out, changes colors. It just goes, so you don't trip over it in the dark if you set it down somewhere. Volume control.
Yeah.
So what's unique about this? All right, so you got, you get close, goes off. The closer you get to it, the longer it plays. So just get real close. It just goes for a couple seconds, goes a little longer. And you get on top of it, and then it keeps playing. So the unique thing, or what we wanted to do, is like, sure, you can get a music box and everybody's got the same deal going on, but it's got a USB port on the back. You can load your own music clip file on, whatever you want.
Anything.
Voice, music, whatever.
You can change it out as many times as you want.
Yep. And then it does come with a rechargeable battery as well. So.
Yeah. So let's say you've got a bunch of other people and they always have the same noises coming out, and you want to make a statement. You can put anything on that. So that makes it fun.
We record a soundbite of me screaming at the top of my lungs. Yep. And then, so every time that goes off, Aaron would love that.
Or here's Johnny.
It's not a bell. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, not the bell.
And this is the ones we gave away were 2 different colors. And since then I added some accents on it. We got some little darker colors on it. So looked more like a little vintage radio.
Yeah, I like the look of it.
Yeah, it's like 5 inches tall, 5 inches wide by like 2.5 deep, I think. So, it's not like a those big ones where people are making spirit box out of it. You got to lug around.
And you'll put on some stuff. You do custom logos for people. Is that something you can do a custom logo on?
Yep, we can do pretty much anything custom.
Yes.
Fonts.
That's another thing we did. We don't have one to show you because we gave it away in Virginia City at the ComCon 7. We are doing, how we do coins? I don't know if you've been on the website.
Yep, love the coins.
Yes, exactly. So Scott actually does have one. He's going to bring it to you. We made a Connect 4 game using people's logo coins. We did it for ComCon for one side. Yeah. So if you guys are doing events and you wanted something like that for giveaways or raffles or something like that, we can make those too. So here he comes with it. It's kind of a neat little thing, and it's.
Yeah, you guys have some really creative ideas. That's what kind of drew me into, looking at the Horn Paranormal stuff at first was I
mean, it's nothing extravagant. I mean, it's pretty simple, just the deal there, and it's got a base.
So you can make it travel worthy. He puts a lid on this so that your coins won't fall out. So they're all in there in one thing. So, so then you can play. Just drop them in there. So you got the two colors. So if there's a team that has a logo or something you want to do like an event, so Soul Circle Paranormal was the one posting the ComCon. So we did a coin for them and a coin for us since we made it. And then we wrote it. We actually did it for them. We wrote ComCon 7 across the front and made it personalized for that. So
that's really cool.
We raffled it off for $1 a ticket and, did it that way for the event. So
yeah,
kind of neat. Something
Gina
different.
said she loves the Connect 4, so I bet we're going to end up getting one.
Thanks, Gina.
So the cons, you've hit a couple of cons this year. You did Michigan Paracon, and when you did that, you hit a few places. I don't even remember how many.
Yeah, we started out. Circle. It was going to be like 2,100 miles to get there from here.
Yeah.
And because I had so much equipment I was taking that we took our RV, our Class C motorhome, and we decided,
let's make it fun.
Let's make it worthwhile. And then we went to McIntyre Villa first.
Yeah, we've been to all these locations, and these are some of our favorite places to go. Places that we've always caught stuff at, and the owners, we love the owners too. We want to promote them, and so we're like, let's do that, Luke. Stop in and promote on the way and enjoy it. And we actually met some of our other friends that we've met through investigating. They drove in from South Carolina.
Denton, North Carolina.
There you go. And they met us at the one of the locations, and we investigated with them, and that was fun. So
we went down.
Where all did you stop?
Well, McIntyre Villa was first in Atchison, Kansas.
With Stephanie O'Reilly.
Yep. Then we went to Whispers Estates in
Rich Ballard,
Mitchell, Indiana.
Yeah.
Love that place.
And he's still trying to get the money raised up, and he didn't ask for a GoFundMe at all. He didn't. He's not that kind of person. But his roof, with all the storms we had, it was like $30,000 roof. And so we did a little fundraiser before going in to help him. And that's what we like to do. If we think these locations, it's $400 a night. I think all night long, you get the whole entire place. So these places not only are they haunted, these people are trying to keep their affordable. It's not like you're going $1,500 to asylum. It's a smaller place, but with a group like what we have or what you guys have, it's affordable. You can stay there and it's worth it. It's like very haunted. So Rich Ballard's, and then we went up to we went to Rhodes Hotel. Yeah, which in Atlanta, Indiana. Love those guys. Mike Couch and his sister, Crystal, they're awesome people. They we had went to an event a few years before that and went to Rhodes and decided we wanted to come back into a private investigation. So same thing, you get to stay there all night, get to sleep in the beds, you get the whole run of the whole place. Worth the money, worth the time. Another one that they're trying to restore. Used to be part of Lost Limbs Foundation, but they took it out of the foundation because I can't remember the exact reasons, but they pulled it away, I think because of health reasons. And Crystal stepped up and she takes all the money that they get and it goes right back into the business. So they're not making any money from it. It goes right back. Property, yeah. So that we as investigators can go there and enjoy it.
That's cool.
So we went to that one, and then
Well, the night before, so we had Whispers on a Friday. We left, and Rhodes Hotel was on a Sunday. So Rob and Terry, the owner of Ashmore Estates, reached out to us and said, "Hey,
come on up.
Yeah, you need a place to park your RV. You know, come on up. You can park it out here."
Very nice guy, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great guy. That's the first time we met him. We were there before, but didn't get to meet him.
We ended up investigating with a group that had the night there. We weren't going to, and they asked us to join them, and so we ended up getting another investigation.
Yeah, we were there for a few hours, and
yeah,
it was. I mean, by that time, it was pretty tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up on your sleep, but yeah, that was a blast. And then, you know, it was like 4 or 5 days later, we ended up in Michigan at the Paracon.
By that time, we were really tired, and after the Michigan, we still had to go see our family on the way home. So it was
on your way home, and then you had a tire blowout, and then you got ready your trailer, and it was a heck of a trip. It looked like.
It was something else.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like over 5,000 miles. So
yeah, Michigan was wonderful. It's sad that there's not going to be any more, because under one roof, having so many people that are in the paranormal field, to be able to actually interact with them is amazing. And we got to meet people we haven't been able to meet because they're usually on the East Coast and it's a little too far for us. So that was really neat. And some really neat people. John Jaffis is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And it's interesting. Jessica Shovat, do you guys watch
Expedition X?
Yeah, with Josh Gates.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
She's going on to do her own show, but she came up and she bought hats from us. We're like, what?
Oh, that's cool.
I know.
Yeah, she's like, Horn was my maiden name.
And my dad's name. I'm going to get my dad hat and me a hat.
She bought her dad a hat. And she goes, you know what? Give me one too. It's like,
that's cool.
On.
Yeah.
Well,
nice. So she went through and was buying people's stuff and vendors. I mean, super nice people.
Yeah.
And so that was a really neat experience for us. It really was. So
yeah, you know, you were talking about the distance, and that's the thing. Like, we're in Cheyenne, Wyoming. You guys are in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
Everything that happens is back east, and it's such a trip. And we're just like, all right, we need to do something and get the Western, you know, some notoriety and get some stuff out here. You know, if it takes a big city, we have Denver, like we have even Fort Collins in Colorado, where we can get something out this way.
You know, other than transportation, you guys are sitting on a landmine of haunted locations. Being from Wyoming, I know of several that you guys could access like that. It doesn't cost anything. That's just amazing. And so once you guys make them popular,
we're working on that. You know, recently we signed with Paraflix. We had our first episode on there. We're hoping to drop our next episode either the end of this month or beginning of next.
Nice.
The Nelson Museum, that was our first, is absolutely amazing. We're hosting a VIP experience on the 26th.
Nice.
Where people can come in and investigate with us. I think we have 2 tickets left to that. It's cool. It's an amazing place. You know, next time you guys are out this way,
definitely,
we have places to investigate. We'll get you in and we'll have a good time.
Absolutely.
We'll probably do take you up on that, because we want to get up, and it'll be summer months when we're leaving the heat down here, heading up to see family. So my mom still lives up in Sheridan, and so does my brothers.
Oh, nice.
And so we'll be going up that way. Of course, we'll have to swing through there.
Yeah, got to come through Cheyenne.
We turn off and head the other way. You know, cut off that part, go up through Casper the other way. But there's so many places. Maybe we could plan something, because you know, just that whole Muddy Gap Junction area, I want it. All those frontier, all that stuff. There's some frontier places. Yeah.
You know, there's so many places. Yeah, we're working on some of those places now, and we're working on some stuff, just like you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. I do.
Well, if you ever need help, reach out.
Yeah. We sure will.
Cool. Thank you.
Let's see. You did a con this weekend in Virginia City.
Yeah.
And that was with the Searchers. That's Josh and
Josh couldn't make it. Yeah. It was actually Shane. Shane is part of Soul Circle Paranormal as well. So he owns part of Soul Circle with Ryan and Tara McLeod. And they're the ones who are the event people that put on the ones there.
Great people.
Yeah, awesome. Yep. Can't say enough good about them. Their whole goal with Soul Circle is to bring like-minded people together to enjoy the paranormal and to basically make friendships that'll last. And so it's not just about going in and investigating. It's also about getting people on that same page of coming back year after year to do it. So that's kind of the mission. So it's not a big one. I think the most they have is like 40 people tickets sold.
Yeah,
it's not like 100 tickets. They're not about that.
This one in October is the big one, like 40 tickets. And then they do one in April, which is the WashoCon.
Yeah.
And that's smaller. You're like around 30.
And you mentioned, Jason, about the Knights of Pythias. One of the main locations that Tara locks down every time is the Knights of Pythias there. And that place is off the hook.
Oh, really?
Crazy active all the time. Never disappoints. Yeah.
That's kind of how the one in Cheyenne is too.
Yeah. All those kind of lodges, Masonic temples and things like that are, whoa.
Yep.
You don't know what you're going to get.
For sure. Yeah.
I think they were such a deep part of people's lives, for the longest time, right? You got these members that joined when they were 20 and stayed until they passed, and it was, family dinners every week and stuff like that up at the lodges. So, yeah.
That's something we're doing this coming weekend. Knights of Pythias. So these guys, they hold a haunted house in their basement.
Wow.
The building here was built in the 1884 for the Knights of Pythias.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure doing research that besides some of the ranch owners around that have passed it down, these guys are the longest landowners in Cheyenne, in the city of Cheyenne.
I believe it. They're usually the foundation of a lot of places like Virginia City. Same thing.
Yeah. So they've always rented out their main street level. Their lodge is on the top floor, and they do a haunted house in the basement, and they donate those proceeds to charities throughout Cheyenne.
Wonderful.
They've been nice enough to let us in several times to investigate. This weekend, we're hosting an After the Haunt investigation.
Ooh.
So they'll do their haunted house, and then we have the public coming in to investigate after the haunt.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
That
See how stuff ramps up when you have that fear and you have the screaming. It's already...
I'll say, with we redo the haunted house every year. It's all volunteer and lodge member driven. But yeah, we try to make the rooms different as much as we can every year. And so there was a lot of construction going on specifically this year. And yeah, things have been absolutely crazy down in the haunted house. Both during and after, with, our volunteers, our actors saying, hey, thought I saw someone come into the room. I was ready to scare them, and then they just weren't there. It's like,
well,
they were coming to scare you.
Yep, exactly. It's like, all right, that's cool. Stay calm. Don't leave. We need you in the room, please.
It's always been a super active place for us, and I'm sure this weekend it will not disappoint.
No, it sounds like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
The Searchers, you guys work with them. I'm guessing that it's like an equipment thing. They're using your equipment.
Yep.
So they're on Beacon TV.
Yes,
StreamBeaconTV.com is their new streaming platform.
That's their newest endeavor, and they've got a lot of cool stuff planned going on that. They really do.
Nice.
Yeah. So they've actually, I don't know, I think the latest announcement, there's some really neat, like Brian and Rochelle Murray, who was out at Comstock, they're going to have a program on there. And they are from Ghost Hunters. I don't know if you knew that. They had been on there. Let's see. The newest one is, I don't know, have you guys ever watched Holzer Files? Have you ever heard of Holzer? Okay. Yep. So Dave and Cindy recently got with Shane, and they've reunited, and they've got the same producers. Even though it's not Holzer Files, they got the same crew going into that as they did with Holzer Files. But Dave, he's a mecca of knowledge. He used to go out and scout for ghosts. I don't know if you guys knew this, but he used to go out and do all the scouting locations for ghost adventures back in the day. Well, now he's got all that knowledge. He's got all the radio broadcasts. He's got lots of knowledge. And I'm sure they're going to be pulling case files from other locations and doing their thing, kind of like the Holzer Files. And
that's the same premise, but there's not just the files of Holzer. They're going beyond that.
Yeah.
Nice. Gotcha. Yeah. I listen to Dave's show, Paranormal 60. It's like every day at work, I'm listening. I'm like, all right, what's on there now? for our Ghost 101 that we got RIM pods from you.
Yep.
We contacted Dave Schrader because he has a teen book, and Dave worked us a great deal, and we were able to give away that book too. So yeah,
awesome.
I love how tight, even though everyone's all over the country, it's still kind of a tight knit group. There's always outsiders. It's going to happen, but we contacted you we'd love to help. We got hold of Dave. Dave replied back to us in an email within like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
love that. So, that's what we like. We like to get out there and try to help groups too, and do some stuff with them. And it sounds like you guys do the same thing.
We try.
We really try.
Yeah, there's too much negative crap in the world. We want to be part of the positive.
And we love seeing people's faces when they're first seeing, from him seeing his first stuff. I get a kick out of that, trying to make people a believer. So that's kind of a fun journey in itself. And it's so neat when people get a piece of equipment and then they get to experience it without just going along on a tour and watch somebody else do it. When they have their own equipment, they get more engaged in everything. And I love that.
Yeah.
Well, me and Aaron have always said you end up bonding with certain pieces of equipment in a way, right? Like there's just some that you just feel attached to. Like for me, it's my camera and, my Sony audio recorder.
Nice.
And I think Aaron is the Spirit Box, right? Is the one that.
Yeah, definitely the Spirit Box and audio recorder. I'm an EVP guy. I want to hear those.
Yes.
Those crazy responses that you get.
It's funny you said that because that was part of the conversation that came up over the weekend. Sarah Lamos did a class kind of in a panel. She kind of did things and we were talking about different equipment works for different people. Like Dave Schrader, he nails those EVPs. That's his connection. He's got that down. For us, believe it or not, because we know our equipment so well, we go to the XLS. That's what it seems like our energy bonds with it somehow. I don't know. I mean, we have all this other equipment. We do all this other stuff. We use all this other techniques, but we always have a go-to too. Cameras are the same way for a lot of people's, it's crazy the stuff that people were catching with just still photography that does it all the time. Lightning, some crazy pictures came out of that this weekend that I know were not doctored because of the people who took them. And it just amazes me that happens. There's got to be a phenomenon in that somehow. So
yeah, even if it's just being completely relaxed, right? Like this piece of equipment and you're not worrying about how to operate it or anything, and it's almost like competitive shooting, right? It's like once you get to that level, it just goes smoother. Time kind of slows down because you're one with that piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Virginia City this weekend. What were some of the places that you investigated this weekend? Because I know they had a couple different places.
Yeah. Knights of Pythias. They always do the Washoe Club when you go there. They did the Mackey Mansion one night, and then they did the church that second night.
St. Paul's.
Yep. Episcopal. That's where Sarah Lamos did her gallery readings in there, and then you cut loose after and do investigations. We were in there with Sarah, and we conducted on the second group. We conducted an experiment while she was doing her readings. We got behind her to see what the cameras would pick up, and I'll be darned if the XLS wasn't, every time she'd pull a spirit through, we caught a spirit there. She even pulled pets through, and the first time ever we got you get little figures sometimes on the XLS, but these were animal, small, tiny.
It was weird. We're pulling the video here tomorrow, probably.
Yeah. And post it.
That's funny.
She was talking about a gentleman, or I was too busy watching the camera. I couldn't exactly remember what she was saying, but it was an owner. And then she said, with a pet.
Yeah.
And there was a stick figure there. And then a small little thing. It was like a little.
Wow.
Not saying that's it, but it's part of the investigation process, because she's saying she's getting this. All of a sudden, we're seeing she's getting this.
She's like, I've never done this before. I've never used equipment. I've never had anybody ask. She goes, I think that's a great idea. So, we went with it. And
I'm just thinking out of the box.
Yeah, we had some pretty cool results with
That's
it.
great.
That's awesome.
Talking about animals, we'll come right back to that. right now we need to talk about our sponsor for just a moment.
Sure.
We're going to just get you out of here and then we'll bring you right back. So, Jason, we went down to Twinkle Twinkle Little Store this weekend, and the coffee selection they have is phenomenal. They have the Bones coffee, which the French toast is my favorite. And they have Goshen coffee. So Patricia's nephew works down there. It's around New Orleans. They went there and they brought in this Goshen coffee. Gina tried it, said she absolutely loved it. So yeah.
I'll have to try that too, because I remember when we were doing our review of our first Paraflix episode over at your place, we were all sitting around the dining room table kind of going through it, and Gina made us cups of coffee, the Bones coffee from there. And I had that French toast one. It was amazing.
Yeah. So Twinkle Twinkle, we're happy to have them on board with us. And we're going to get back to Horn now and talk to them about some pet stuff, because we have caught some crazy pet stuff that I want to tell you about.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking when they said that too.
So we went out, not this Labor Day. That's going to be our second episode. So we'll tease that probably in a week or two. But last Labor Day, we went out to the Squirrel Cage Jail in Council Bluffs.
Nice.
And you have the jail on 3 levels and then the warden's apartment upstairs. And they say there's a cat and a spirit cat. And so we started an investigation. We started up recorders, and about 2 minutes in, one of the investigators was like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I swear that was a cat." So I get home, fire up everything, start listening to stuff. Sure enough, it was a cat.
Nice.
So wasn't long after that, we went down to Old Town Fort Collins. If anyone doesn't know, Walt Disney actually made Main Street of Disneyland after Old Town Fort Collins.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'd never heard that.
We're in the old Firehouse bookstore, which the Firehouse in Disneyland is kind of built after it, and we're investigating in there. And we're talking about dogs. So it's an old firehouse, and we never said what kind of dog firefighters had. We didn't want to say a Dalmatian. We did not hear a dog all night on a recording, on video, on anything. But when we started talking about dogs, we get a faint dog bark. And I'm like, okay, maybe we're not talking to the right people. Maybe we just need to start talking to the animals.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, animals are great. I think there's spirit there too.
We have a spirit cat that's followed us around for about 5 years now.
Yeah, picked it up on the road somehow when we were full-time RVing.
Yeah,
really.
And we thought, oh well, when we move into our house, we'll lose it. Nope. A couple months later, showed up on our cameras. We hear this yell. We go back and look at our Ring cameras. Both our cats are sleeping in the chair when it happens. And you see an orb come down right with the yell and go through it was like a tomcat yell, like it was looking for us. It was we were watching TV and you could see we're shocked on the camera where it came from, but we climbs in bed with us. We get that whole feeling like something's down by our legs, and sometimes we hear it.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I know what I saw, but it's still hard to explain.
Yep.
I heard a scratching at the bathroom door, and I was like, "Gosh, dang it, cat!" I thought one of our cats trying to get in. I opened the door, and I saw its butt and tail walk off. And I walk out, and there's nothing there. And I go out to the living room, same thing. Both cats are right there accounted for. And Kim's like, "No, they've all been out here the whole time."
Yep.
It's like,
wow.
So it took it a couple months to find us down here, but it sure did show up down here too. So it comes and goes like an old tomcat. And it'll be dead quiet for a while. And then it's like, oh, something just rubbed against my leg. Must be that cat.
We're wondering if it's not attached to our oldest cat.
We haven't figured out what it is there, but it might be. I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't explain. It's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Makes the heart warm, because especially after Sarah doing the readings on the animals, the pets, she nailed my dog. She brought my dog through, and then she brought my brother through. And what freaked me out so much was that I put my dog's ashes with my brother's ashes, and they came through together. She would not have known that.
Wow.
There's no way. And it was just crazy. And I'm like, wow, I guess pets, she says pets are connected to us because it's that same love bond. So I'm like, okay.
Yep. But
That's
having them
kind of,
come through like that together, that's like you said, a fact
Ryan.
she didn't know. That really helps kind of confirm, right,
yeah.
that you're talking to who they say you're talking to.
Yep.
For sure.
Ryan, part of Soul Circle, just popped in there.
Nice. Well, welcome,
Right.
Ryan. Thanks for coming and watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these people are popping in. I'm trying to put over the ones that are saying hi. You guys know a lot of people.
No. They're all good people.
Yeah, there's, like I said, this field, there's a lot of good people out there. Obviously you guys are, if these people are coming in, and you have this great fan base. We talked about your equipment. We've talked about your travels, new stuff in the works, you said. Anything you want to get out there that we may have missed?
4. Besides the Connect 4, all I can think of is we've done a lot of SLSs. That seems to be the big thing. There's on the back end, there's having your own name on them, like what we talked about earlier before we came on with you guys, is having your group name. A lot of people get them so that they have, their name on it. So we can do customizations.
Other than, the equipment, we can do custom made stuff for events, whether you wanted the coin stuff we do, or if you want keychain stuff, or any of that stuff is just a matter of your imagination. We've got
if you have an idea,
and it gives me something different to do other than the same equipment over and over, but I mean, we like doing that stuff, the one-offs and the,
I can give you a hint of something that we're looking at.
That would be
we'd
great.
love to hear it.
Then the listeners we have are gonna
know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Because it puts him on notice. It has to do with the FLIR.
Oh,
wow.
So that's all she can say.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
stopping it there.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. That's pretty good.
We love that night stuff out. We're going to be doing a lot of outside investigations, and I like that. I want to add that, incorporate somehow to, that part of the investigation. I mean, we got the small, tiny little FLIRs, because they're so expensive. Who wants to look through a screen that's this big?
So I work in a field that has a lot of night vision stuff. And when we order that in for people, I'm like, wow. Then I start looking, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I would love to get a drone with that capability.
Gosh.
Double wow.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I've always been attracted to
and there goes my wallet
stuff. Yep, exactly. And because I did some FLIR camera work in Iraq when I was deployed out there, with multi-million-dollar
right.
that you could read a soldier's name tag from,
Thank you for your service,
10
by the way.
kilometers. Oh yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. So I've always, wish we could integrate FLIR more into stuff that we do, but it's so prohibitive due to the costs that.
Right. Yep.
So
that's the big picture we're looking at. It probably won't be that cheap for us either. It might be like one of those things, but if we can knock it down to where it's
semi-affordable,
something.
The serious people would probably want one, right?
That's what we're thinking.
And it just goes along the lines with what I want and what I want to use in the field. So if somebody else, wants it too, that's
for serious
awesome.
Investigators who want to mark that box off. Just to, you got to have those things. So, it could be this or that. Well, this is it to me. When you add that FLIR capability, that's another piece of the scientific field in my mind that's harder to debunk when you've got something. I mean, because sound, noise, sound, atmospheric stuff, a lot of triggers on that. But it's like your camera and things like that. If you can fine tune that area, that's.
Well, you're really reading the environment with the thermal.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And really, to do a productive investigation, I think it's all about data collection, right? So I guess you're going to be poor again, Michelle. That's right.
We understand.
Just come investigate.
We hear you. We hear you.
Well, we'll just have to do some kind of layaway program or something.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we can all, create our own, like ghost pay or something like that.
Right? Hey, there's an idea for somebody out there.
Right?
Oh, so funny. All right. So we're gonna wrap this up. Bucket list place. Oh yes,
Can I plug something real quick right here?
Absolutely.
Sacred Mountain Retreat Center is out of Lead, South Dakota. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about it. We actually are spokespeople for them, and so it's on our banner. What it is a place for veterans, trauma victims, anything in the service field, whether you're a firefighter, police officer, healthcare. They offer a week to the veteran for free to go. It's a whole expense paid. They pay your plane ticket and everything to send you to the Black Hills just to decompress. I forged a knife out of a railroad spike there that week.
Oh, wow.
They do equine therapy, all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't, your PTSD or traumas doesn't even have to be like service connected, but if you got it, it's their way of giving back. And so we try to get that message out there. We carry brochures with us everywhere we go, and they're there to hand out when we go to our cons. So that was one of our things that we do, is trying to get the message out there. If I can get awareness to get veterans to know that there is a free place out there for them. Jared is amazing. We had done the Deadwood, Spirits of Deadwood, to raise money for them last year. And that's kind of how we got Shane and everybody on board with us. They came out and helped us put on that event. So I'm really a proponent of them. And if anybody wants, they've got a Got Your Six program, $6 a month cup of coffee, donate to them. They've got a service dog program. They've given out more service dogs than trained service dogs than I think even can't think of the other Wounded Warriors has.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they are an awesome organization, and it is sacredmountain.retreat.org is how you find them. So
yeah, we got their link on our website too under the sponsors.
You say bucket list. I've got tons of bucket list stuff.
Yeah. So from each of you, how about one bucket list place?
Out of the United States, I want to go over and do the castles in Ireland, Scotland. That's my bucket list thing. Even over Transylvania, I want to go over there. Here in the States, that's a tough one because there's so many, but I don't think I'm a big asylum type place because they're so vast and too hard to investigate. You have to go many days. We already did the French Quarter down in New Orleans. That's crazy. That should be everybody's bucket list.
Yeah, and I guess I can't really think. I mean, there's lots of places I want to go, but if I'd say a bucket list would probably be the Hellfire Club.
There you go. There's another one.
Yeah.
The older, the better.
Lep Castle is one of mine in Ireland. So yes, the castles in Ireland. And then, of course, you guys made the equipment, and I think we already know the favorite piece, SLS.
XLS. Yeah.
XLS.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason, do you have a question?
I really. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was just gonna say, our most popular piece of equipment and the piece of equipment that I like the best, I didn't really want to build it. People were asking for it, and I was like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do it. And after I did it, I think there's really only one other person out there building them. And it's pretty big and gaudy, whatever. But I wanted to, same with my SLS, get it down to a nice compact package and pretty much take it out of the case, plug it in, and a couple clicks on the tablet and you're ready to go.
We may make our own version of the Spirit Box, even though it's been done a million times. Tripwire, things like that, that's like their specialty item. We could do that too, but we're not about copying other people's equipment. Yeah. We don't want that. We want them to have that. They worked hard to make that happen. So we promote them to go there to do those things. That's why I think, our version's more about, oh, look, it's the red and black horn paranormal signal. It's not so much about like, oh, they've got the XLS is our signature. SLS probably our signature pieces. Everything else is just, to us, a novelty version that's already been done. And people like Tripwire and stuff, they've earned that right to keep that piece. So
yeah, there's enough business for everybody to thrive.
Absolutely, right. Yeah. Especially if you're creative.
Drew me to your SLS because it is that smaller. If you're already packing cases with REM pods and spirit boxes and cameras and all that kind of stuff, at least that one's a small. And you get the case and it's small and
Yeah, we got Phil loves his XLS.
We did a custom one for Phil.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
He's got his own. What's it called on
Beyond Reality
Yeah,
Productions.
on YouTube, and he goes around and does cemetery stuff right now, filming and things like that. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
So what got you going on the electronics design part of it, Scott? Is that something you do in real life, or?
No, I've always been I like doing things with my hands, like mechanical type stuff. And I'm a very, very visual person. You know, if you get something and you can tell me how to build it or whatever, but I have to take it and physically see it and do things like that.
He did have a background.
Well, sort of a background in it. I was in management, retail management up to my mid 30s. I worked at a company that they still make parts for like circuit boards and wiring harnesses for Boeing, military aircraft, Raytheon, stuff like that. I was quality assurance for them, and then I was a mechanical or a production engineer for them. I wrote the processes to build the product.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So it's just kind of, something, it's a creative outlet, I guess, that kind of stuff. See if you can take something and make it work.
Yep, I'm the same way. I'm always messing with Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and seeing what sensors and stuff I can create. So yeah, that's fun. So no, I like hearing the stories of somebody that is just kind of interested in it, right? And they figured it out and learned on their own, and now you're creating products like this. And I did my own SLS probably 10 years ago, and from some thrift store finds, but it ended up just being the sensor and then a 15-foot USB cable, right, with a special power adapter and a laptop. Like, it was ghetto, but
it works. Yeah,
it did. Yep. But you guys, you definitely polished it up and made it something that's usable wherever you go. So yeah,
the
hats
big
off
thing
to
is
you.
the casing and stuff, because those get banged around. You're constantly traveling, and then those waterproof cases, that's kind of nice. Throw them in the car, stack them up, and then when you open them up, your stuff isn't like, oh no, I got to put it all together. So that was we tried to figure out what we want to do different, for ourselves. And
then I get the whole, you buy, like, if we would just sell the camera by itself, then you got to deal with the case and all that stuff. So that's part of our deal. We don't sell them without the case. For one, it makes shipping easier, and it's going to arrive in one piece, and and then when you get it there, it's ready to rock. So
Nice. And then I've got one more question. So just going on hornparanormal.shop, I see that there is a book by Kimberly called The Lost Son. Would you like to tell us a little about that?
Oh, do you guys like vampire stories?
Love them.
Well, that one is based in Egypt, on Egyptology with Osiris. And so
I love Egypt and I love vampires. So you got me there already.
There you go. So Osiris comes back. I'll tell you that. He's looking for his lost son. That's the title. Well, it's a bunch of crap he's got to deal with to get there to the end. And it's going to be a trilogy. I'm third of the way through my second book. So of course you got to introduce the characters and all this, come in, then the big fighting and all the, odds and ends going on, and then the big finale in the third book. So it's going to be a lot of action. So
cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It was based on a dream I had 20 years ago, and it's like, I need to get that book written. If you guys knew my imagination, though, I dream so vividly in color that I feel like sometimes when I wake up, I watched a movie, and that was kind of the situation with that book. It's like, I got to put that on a piece of paper. That was crazy.
There's been a lot of good authors like that. Clive Barker was the same way, right? That a lot of his stories came from dreams that he had, and
Scott looks at me at some of my dreams and go, "You're crazy." Yeah, but it's a good outlet for me, and I think it'd be fun. And if you guys end up buying a book ever, make sure you go and write a review. That's a big thing with like Dave Schrader's, all these people writing, is the reviews. That review, even if it's one of them, puts us up in the search engine so other people can find it. So
cool.
Even if it's a review.
So I see it's on your website. Is it available anywhere else, like Kindle or anything? Or
It's on Amazon, and you can get the ebook version or through Kindle. So there's
sweet.
that.
I'll be buying that tonight then.
Nice, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
let me know how it is. Seriously.
I will. Yeah, I'll be sure to leave a review.
I've got a lot of mentors. Well, I shouldn't say mentors, people I look up to. Janice Oberdeen writes about the history in Nevada. If you ever get a chance to, all the books around there, haunted histories, she's got mysteries out there. She does workshops. I met Richard Estep in Michigan and did one of his classes, learned a lot about writing books. Even though if you've ever written one, I still learned how many times he got turned down by publishers. He shared his letters. It was pretty interesting. So I try to promote other people too, because we all put our clothes on the same way,
That's great. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we thank you guys for coming on tonight and being our first guests.
Thank you.
We love your equipment. We're going to talk to you about getting some more. We'll get it personalized. All stuff that you offer. hornparanormal.shop is where you want to go to see that stuff. And
if anybody has any questions about
we're easy
anything
to get
on the website or anything custom, like I said, all you got to do is shoot us an email or a message through Messenger.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. And yeah, if you're not following the Horn family on Facebook, definitely do, because they have they've got a great social media presence as well. So
thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right.
You
Thank
can watch
you
our
guys.
runners.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again for coming on.
I'm looking forward to investigating with you both.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. You let us know when you're coming through and we will for sure make it happen.
Nice.
Sounds great.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Well,
so that was wonderful.
Great interview with them. And we will see you all next week. And we'll get up who we're going to talk to next week.
Yeah. Thank you very much for everyone hopping on and commenting on the stream. I think everyone's mostly on from Facebook, which is awesome. So yeah, really, really great to see how many people hopped on and listened to us talk to the horns. So really appreciate it.
Have a great night, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks.
The Paranomalies podcast would like to thank Twinkle Twinkle Little Store, located in Cheyenne, Wyoming, for sponsoring our show.